Hello, my fellow nerds. I feel like I have failed you. I have failed you and I have failed my podcast. But it's a new year and I have so many plans and goals that I'm going to talk about on this episode. But first, how are y'all doing? How was your New Year's? This episode I'll be talking about Wednesday on Netflix with no spoilers, just in case there's someone who hasn't watched it yet, just because some people, they don't want to watch it, and that's okay. I'll also be comparing my stats from my podcast I did for New Year's last year compared to New Year's this year. I know it's not going to be a huge difference because I've only put out 4 episodes, something like that, 4 or 5 episodes. It is a disgrace. It is a disgrace to my family, on my cow. I'm so sorry. I just don't like how my podcast went this year. So this year, I am buckling down and I'm getting my schedule back together and I'm getting my routine back together. I'm coming up on my 2 years of podcasting, but it's been more like 1.5 because of all that time that I kind of technically took a break. It's like that relationship or that couple that they constantly break up, get back together, and then when you ask them oh, how long have you been together, and they're like, oh, well, we broke up a lot, so yeah, it's kind of like that. Let's get started. I am Chanel and this is the Nerd in Texas podcast, the rebel podcast without a real intro. I talk about movies, books, TV shows, and the occasional video game. I'll also fill your mind with useless information about your favorite actors and actresses and fandoms. If you're a returning listener, thank you so much. I appreciate the patience that you have given me after this, not really getting episodes out. If you are new, have a seat, and I hope you enjoy my podcast and you learn something new. Wednesday Addams is on Netflix. At first there was a lot of naysayers when they announced who would be playing Wednesday, but oh boy, like Heath Ledger and the Joker, she proved them wrong. I'm also going to apologize because my daughter is watching Bluey in the other room, so you might hear Bluey. I love that show, dude. I love that cartoon. But anyways, so IMDb gave Wednesday an 8.3 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes gave it 71% average tomato meter and an 86% average audience score. It has cast a lot of well-known actresses / actors and some new upcoming faces. It is directed by Tim. I do that every time. It has been directed by Tim Burton. Jenna Ortega plays Wednesday Addams. She used to be on the Disney Channel, and to me it seems like she did a good clean break from Disney. A lot of child stars who try to go from Disney to more serious roles have a hard time with that, but it seems like her transition from the Disney Channel to Netflix has been a good smooth transition. She was on the show Stuck in the Middle on the Disney Channel. She was young Jane in Jane the Virgin, Yes Day. She was in Scream, but I haven't seen any of the newer Scream movies, but I saw this theory and this clip about the new Scream and it made me want to watch it, so I'm probably going to watch it in the next few days. And what some people don't realize is that she was in Iron Man 3 back in 2013. I'm sorry, I can't talk. She played the vice president's daughter. Gwendolyn Christie plays Principal Larissa Weems. Gwendolyn Christie was my favorite Brienne of Tarth in Game of Thrones, or Captain Phasma in Star Wars. And she's Lucifer Morningstar in The Sandman, the new Netflix adaptation of The Sandman. And it's interesting that they chose her as Lucifer Morningstar, just because I'm used to Lucifer Morningstar from Lucifer, the show. And I'm actually going to talk about that in the podcast pretty soon. Just because it's like, it's been canceled. No, it's not been canceled. It's going to end. No, it's not going to end. And it's just confusing. But it is a good show. I'll talk about it later. We have Catherine Zeta-Jones as Morticia Addams, Louis Guzman as Gomez Addams, Isaac Ordonez as Pugsley Addams. And we have other Addams related characters that show up, but I don't want to give it away. No spoilers, remember? IMDb, I think I say this every single podcast episode, is the worst at describing movies or TV shows. A sleuthing, supernaturally infused, mystery charting Wednesday Addams, years as a student at Nevermore Academy, Wednesday's attempts to master her emerging psychic ability, thwart a monstrous killing spree that has terrorized the local town, and solve the supernatural mystery that embroiled her parents 25 years ago, all while navigating her new and very tangled relationships at Nevermore. That is a whole lot of paragraphs, or a whole lot of paragraphs. That is a paragraph with a whole lot of words that don't mean a single thing. Like, I have no idea what I just read. And I'm telling you, if you guys ever get on IMDb and look at the descriptions, it's got to be the same person who writes them, because they are big and wordy and all these big people words that we've never heard of. And I'm sorry, I'm ranting, I'm venting, I'm sorry. So let me explain it to you. After getting in trouble at a public school, Wednesday's parents sent her to Evermore Academy. It's like a school for paranormal kids. So imagine a gothic X-Men. You have kids that are werewolves, vampires, sirens, and many other paranormal kids with powers, I guess you could say. Wednesday, the series, is like a paranormal Nancy Drew. There's a mystery involving her parents that Wednesday chooses to solve. She tries to be her best to be independent and not make friends and not have crushes or whatever you want to call it. I mean, I'm an adult talking about crushes, but but she ends up making friends. And her friend, they have separate powers that kind of help her, I guess. And without giving anything away, the series is about the obstacles Wednesday goes through to solve the case. She has to deal with a lot of people against her and against her family and against her parents and against her mother. And I don't want to give it a lot away because I want y'all to watch it. But Jenna Ortega carries the show, and she took so many lessons to be Wednesday Addams and for the show. She took fencing, archery, German. She learned to play the cello and canoeing, because there is an area like it's at it almost like a camp and she has to canoe. But and she kind of got a little crap for her German because she didn't get a lot of German words right, but it was kind of like a good, not necessarily make fun of her, but I mean, she had to learn German. There's a whole scene where she's like talking to Germans and stuff. One of the things I love about the series is all the Addams family Easter eggs throughout the show. Like, there's all these little tiny things that they kind of like to commemorate the Addams Family TV show and the movies. And one of the major things is a dance scene that Jenna Ortega does that went viral on TikTok. And at first, when you're watching this dance scene, you think she's just making like weird dance moves. Like, just, you're just like, what is she doing? You know, like, it's weird, but it's also really cool at the same time. And Jenna Ortega choreographed the dance scene, but she choreographed it to where she does the dance moves like in the original black and white Addams Family show. There's an episode where Wednesday Addams and she's like in the living room or something, and she's doing these dance moves, and she's like little, you know, but they're really like funny dance moves, and it was just really cool. It was just, you know, so she integrated some of those dance moves along with 70s era like Austin Powers dances. I mean, that's the only way I can explain it. At one point in time during filming, Jenna Ortega films a scene where she doesn't blink. So Tim Burton told her, I don't want you to blink in your scenes. Can you imagine not blinking? Like, I watch movies or TV shows where people are swimming and they like hold their breath, and like, you know, so you hold your breath and you can't make it right. You're like, oh, I would have been dead 2 minutes ago. Like, try that. If you haven't watched the series, while you're watching the series, notice she doesn't blink. And if you have watched the series, just go back and watch an episode and try not to blink when she's not blinking. It's pretty hard. I can't do it. Wednesday Addams has a companion throughout the show. And Thing, if you guys remember Thing is he's just a hand and the snapping, is played by a magician named Victor Dorbantu. I think that's how you say it. I'm sure I said it wrong, and if I did, I apologize. Before playing Thing, he contacted Christopher Hard, who's also a magician who played Thing in the Addams Family 90s films. He wore a blue suit so the visual effects team could erase his body. But here's where my brain goes. Can you imagine, like, this is Victor Dorbantu's first role on screen. Was there an audition? Like, did they have to audition for Thing for the hand? Did they just look at people's hands? And if, like, say they found a hand that they didn't like, were they like, we'll call you back? And did those people feel bad that they didn't get it? Because were they like, oh, my hand's not good enough? Or did somebody just know Victor Dorbantu and was like, it would be cool to have a magician, and contacted him and was like, hey, would you want to do this? I need to look into that. I should have Googled that. Okay, so I totally just Googled it. So Victor Dorbantu, yes, he auditioned for the role. And he's a Romanian magician. And the series is filmed, a lot of it is filmed in Romania. So that makes sense. So I totally just Googled it. So yes, Victor Dorbantu did have to audition for the role, and he's a Romanian magician because most of the series, or actually a lot of the series, is filmed in Romania. So that makes sense. But they also said that he put a prosthetic hand on, and then the rest of his body was in a blue suit so the visual effects team could get him out of the scenes and stuff. But yeah, that was like a prosthetic hand, and so that's pretty cool. I learned something while doing my podcast. So all together and collectively, I loved the show. It was a great show. There was just a few things that kind of bugged me. Okay, actually, there's just one major thing that bugged me. That was while she was trying to solve the case, she was kind of like literally pointing the finger at everyone and was saying like, you did it. And I'm saying like almost everyone one by one. She was like, you did it, you did it. And to me, there would have been more of a shock value if it showed just her like investigating everyone, and at the end did the you did it and pointed out who the actual bad guy, and he would have been like, what? To me it would have been more of a meh. But at the same time, I am the type of person that while I'm watching something, I do everything I can to predict it, I guess you could say. I don't know, I just can. It was just because of her pointing out everyone, it was just a little predictable. That was my only complaint. And I thought I was the only one because of the way I watch TV shows or whatever and trying to predict who did it, that it was my fault. But I actually talked to a few people and they said no, I kind of predicted it too. So I didn't feel so bad. But like I said, that was my one and only actual complaint. Everything else was great. But what's even crazier is Wednesday broke all kinds of records, beating Stranger Things season 4 viewership record. Wednesday brought in 341.2 million viewing hours globally during opening week. And Stranger Things brought in 335 million hours opening week, but the ultimate record holder is at 571.76 million hours was Squid Games. I have not watched it. I am not a horror person, so I heard it's kind of not necessarily scary, but just kind of possibly gory and gross. I don't know. I don't do gory. I don't watch Saw movies. Those are so gross. But maybe I'll force myself to watch it one of these days. Not tonight, because I'll totally freak myself out. So for the rest of my podcast, I'm going to be apologizing in advance because it is from an episode that I created or that I made last year. And so I pulled the audio, and the audio's not that great. It might be really loud. So I'm apologizing in advance, but here we go. Alright, so speaking of records, I am now going to be comparing my stats from last New Year's to this New Year's. And I have found the clip of where I'm answering my own questions, but I explain where I got the idea from, and then I say my stats, and then I'm going to tell you my stats for this year. And I kind of got this idea from a Billie Eilish interview, and each year every year she does the same interview, same questions. And so I thought, what if I did that, because my 1 year is coming up, and so I am going to put my stats out there and compare it, and do another episode next year and compare it. So here we go. Last year I started in February, and I started at 0 episodes in my closet. I'm still kind of in my closet. I still have the same equipment. I'm still trying to save up for better equipment. All right, so that was last New Year's. So that was New Year's 2021 to 2022, and we're now in 2023. So I now have, I think, around 66 episodes. But I want to say it was more than that, because I know I did 100th episode. I know I have well over 100 episodes, because I had to switch from, what did I switch from? From Anchor to Podbean. And so all of my stats, all of my stuff just got messed up. So I don't know exactly how many episodes I have, but I am now on Podbean. I'm still in my closet, but I do have better equipment. I finally saved up enough money to get a better, I forget what they're called, a bar, to where I hold my microphone. I got a better microphone. I kind of downgraded on my computer because I had to use that for business, and then I had to get a different computer for school, and I'm also using it for podcasting. So the next goal, I guess, is to get a better computer, I guess. I mean, I have way too many computers, so it's really not a computer. I guess it's just the goal of getting used to this computer. So now to the next stat. Today, my stats are on Instagram. I have 1,254 followers. As of today, January 1st, 2023, I have 3,447 followers, which is kind of like, that's not the aggravating part. It's the part that like I almost made it to 4,000 followers and then lost a bunch of followers. It means that it was probably bots and fakes accounts, but still, it's good. It's good. I'm not complaining. I'm sorry. I'm happy. On Twitter, I have 4,701 followers. I've been so close to 5,000 followers. I feel like it's been like that like 3 times. I've been so close to 5,000, and I'm talking I had 4,997 followers, right? And then the next morning I'll wake up and I'll lose 500 followers or 800 followers. And then I just get those followers back, and then it would happen to me all over again. And I know like I shouldn't care about the numbers and I shouldn't care about the follows and stuff like that, which I really don't. But when you've been so close to a goal like so many times and just for it to be taken away, it kind of sucks, but I'll get there. So for right now, I have 4,701 followers on Twitter. As of today, January 1st, 2023, I have 6,585 followers on Twitter. Obviously, I've reached that 5,000 follower Twitter mark. I haven't really been pushing for Twitter followers this year. I've been mainly, because like I said, I haven't really been putting episodes out. I've been mainly pushing other people's podcasts and other people's, like getting their followers up and pushing their episodes and all that fun stuff. And it's been really fun. It's been really awesome. It's awesome to see other podcasts grow on Twitter. I mean, I can't really talk because I only have like 6,000 followers on Twitter. I can't talk about like, oh, it's so awesome, because I'm compared to the Twitter universe, 6,000 is small. But I don't know. I've just been enjoying helping other podcasts get more followers. I have 20 subscribers on YouTube, which I need to, obviously that's kind of one of my New Year's resolutions, is to step up my YouTube game and get more, just work more on YouTube. That's one of my resolutions. So that actually hasn't changed. It's amazing. A whole entire year and I still only have 20 subscribers on YouTube. That should be a record in itself. Like, hey, it's hard work keeping just 20 followers or subscribers on YouTube. But, and so again, last year I said that I would work on my YouTube game, but this time I'm really going to work on my YouTube game and pretty much just focus on YouTube actually, and focus on getting podcasts out and getting episodes out on YouTube. So hopefully I can get that done. So the rest of my podcast episode of last year, I was talking about Anchor and all my plays and all my episodes, but I switched from Anchor to Podbean, and it completely like messed up my stats. I have no idea how many total downloads or how many plays I actually have. I just know what Podbean's telling me, and it's not nearly as much as what I had on Anchor. And so I'm kind of like not really talking about those stats this year, even though I should. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. If I go by what Podbean tells me, just for the sake of if I do this again next year, I'll have something to compare to. It's saying that I have 373 all-time downloads. But it also says that like my downloads are down 86.8%. So that's where I mean by it's kind of messed up, just because I don't have those stats from when I was on Anchor. Sorry, I drew a blank. But yeah, that is my episode. I hope you guys loved what I had to say about Wednesday. I hope you guys, if you haven't watched Wednesday, I hope you watch it. Please like, subscribe, follow, whatever platform you might be listening on. Leave a review. It really helps us small podcasters or small content creators out. And I hope you guys have a great 2023. I hope we all make goals and we all smash them. I know my plan is to do that this year. It's just to smash goals. So, yeah, have a great day.